Imagine a world without nonverbal communication. You can't, right? That's because everything you say or do or express means something. Even if you try not to use nonverbal communication, you are communicating something. It's impossible. Everything you say or don't say communicates meaning. Nonverbal communication is often unconscious, usually relational, inherently ambiguous, rooted in biology, continuous, and multi-channeled. I myself, as an American Sign Language interpreting major, use nonverbal communication as a huge part of my career. Depending on a face that you make in American Sign Language, that determines the grammar and meaning of a sentence. Certain gestures in ASL have multiple meanings, therefore you have to pay attention to the facial expressions. Along with nonverbal communication, another part of this class that I took was how you use conflict and how you manage it. In my family communications class, we covered a similar chapter over conflict and power. Around this time, I had an argument with a friend. During the argument, we used a lot of you statements, blaming one another. After not talking for a week, during which we went over this chapter, I decided to change the way that I approached our argument. Noticing that I have a few conflict rituals, such as blaming another person, being defensive, and maybe a little manipulative, the way that I would word an argument would make it sound like I'm not blaming them, and I would tell them that I wasn't mad, but disappointed. When I was in an argument with my past roommate, I would tell her that it was up to her, she had a choice. But if she did not choose what I thought was right, I would not talk to her. So I changed what I did. I tried to define my needs and figure out what she needed as well. We would help one another. We had a much calmer discussion about what needed to change and whether or not it was worth it to continue being friends. Just like working on conflict, people like to work on their public image and presenting self. The way that we want to appear to others can change based on social settings. The way that you act in front of your friends versus the way that you act in front of your coworkers or boss can determine the way that you present yourself. The way this concept has affected me includes the way that I present myself in front of other people and paying attention to it. I think that it also has to do with my relationship with them and how close we are. I share everything with my friends and family, but when I am working or at school, I do not talk about personal things or personal issues. This heavily ties to the way that we use self-disclosure. My relationship with a person and how close we are can determine the breadth and depth of disclosure you feel comfortable with sharing it in a situation. With this social penetration model, we describe different examples of self-disclosure and the level of breadth and depth that information can be. Some of the information includes career ambitions, feelings about mutual friends, my academic life, my family background and problems, and feelings about our relationship. Overall, I feel like this class has impacted me in a great way. Hopefully, my relationship with other people, from coworkers to family members or even significant others, can improve based on what I have learned in the interpersonal communications class.